What is going on, guys? It is time for another Pop Culture Crisis movie review. This time we will be talking about the brand new Matthew Vaughn spy film, Argylle, starring Henry Cavill, Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Rockwell, Bryan Cranston, and more. First, is this our second movie review of the year?
I think it is.
Mean Girls is our first one, and ladies and gentlemen, Mary, how'd you feel about it? How'd you feel about it?
I was worried about this because I went into the theater tired. I was like, maybe I'm going to doze off for a little bit. But as soon as it started, I was really pulled into it, and I'm so pleasantly surprised. The critics don't know what they're talking about. The Rotten Tomatoes score from the critics was 39% and 13% on Rotten Tomatoes from the top critics. And I can't imagine why. I think this is like exactly what we need in the box office right now.
Some people, look, I'm going to give you guys look, if you're watching this, we're going to get into some spoilers, some heavy spoilers here. So just forewarned, just forearmed. Henry Cavill, who is very heavily featured in the promotion for this film. He's in the front of the poster. He is not.
And Dua Lipa.
And Dua Lipa. He and she are not the main characters of this movie. I knew this going, like, there was some lines in the trailer that made it very clear to me that he was not going to be. First of all, I think that they would have used him more in promotion for this movie if he was going to be the true star of this film. I always felt that this was a vehicle for Bryce Dallas Howard, who is the star of this movie. She plays an author named Ellie Conway, who gets pulled into the world of espionage, which is interesting because she writes spy thrillers.
Yeah, for context, since this isn't part of a franchise where you already know what's going on, I want to read a little bit of the synopsis. Bryce Dallas Howard is Ellie Conway, the reclusive author of a series of best-selling espionage novels whose idea of bliss is a night at home with her computer and her cat Alfie. But when plots of Ellie's fictional books, which center on secret agent Argylle and his mission to unravel a global spy syndicate, begin to mirror the covert actions of a real-life spy organization, quiet evenings at home become a thing of the past. Accompanied by Aiden, Ellie races across the world to stay one step ahead of the killers as the line between Ellie's fictional world and her real one begins to blur.
Yes, and one of the great narrative structures that they use in this is the character of Argylle kind of flitting in and out of each scene as she experiences it, substituted for Aiden, played by Sam Rockwell. There is some fantastic stuff here, and I will say right off the bat, to me, the first half of this movie is almost perfect. It is. Like, it is almost perfect to me. It's got just enough action. I find Bryce Dallas Howard ridiculously charming as Ellie like ridiculously charming.
Even for a millennial cat lady.
Yes. Unbelievably fun to watch her as essentially this world of danger unfolds around her. The problem is, for me, is that about halfway through the movie, again, this is a Matthew Vaughn movie, which means, you know, a lot of twists are coming, and to be fair, I knew that it was going to be something along these lines, but I was hoping against it. You find out that Agent Argylle is actually Kyle, which is Ellie Conway's previous identity. She has been brainwashed and mind controlled by the lead of the
She's
head
an
of the,
MK Ultra victim
of the directorate, who's of course played by Bryan Cranston, and his head of research played by Catherine O'Hara. I do think that Catherine O'Hara had, like, it's so weird watching her, like, the lady from Home Alone now.
No, it's perfect. I think
but I'm saying it's funny
it's
watching her.
It's perfect casting because she's, like, literally, I mean, I know this was an inside joke, but she gets a call while she's living in Chicago to come and save her while Ellie is in London. It was just like a little bit of a callback to Home Alone. And then Bryan Cranston as her fake dad was so perfect because the way that he acts as a liar from watching Breaking Bad, it was like literally the same thing. And I think those were perfect casting for her fake parents that MK Ultra'd her.
Catherine O'Hara is having this whole career renaissance later. Like, Home Alone was in the 90s.
Yeah.
And, like, she's Schitt's Creek and all these other shows that she does. But it was so much fun when there's a train scene in the very beginning, which was the highlight of this movie for me.
Very Bullet Train.
Very Bullet Train, but also it's where they most use the structure of going between Argylle and Aiden.
And it was confusing, of course, because as she's hallucinating, Argylle is Aiden,
Yes.
but she's actually Argylle, as you see later in the film. And I was actually hoping that the way she wrote her fictional books was to personify her love interest, Aiden, as the secret spy,
but
who is the hero. But it turns out that was actually her.
It's because in Hollywood in 2023, it has to. This is Spies for Wine Moms. It is like there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, Matthew Vaughn.
Consider
knows
me
what
a
he's
wine
doing.
mom then.
Look, the other thing is. One thing about Matthew Vaughn is the type of over the top, like the way they do the over the top action scenes. I tend to love that. It lost me a little bit at the last one, the ice skating.
I thought that might appeal to you as a former hockey player.
The one before that, the dance one, I was laughing my ass off during that one.
It was great.
I liked that they had Aiden doing the John Wick press check with the gun repeatedly. Like they just kept stealing that trope from those movies. But like one of the great things about it was it did answer a question early on. When I was watching, I was like, why did they cast Sam Rockwell for this role? And then as the movie goes on, that is explained because of their relationship together. You find out that Aiden and Kyle, as we'll call her Ellie for the shorthand, were together. And I think one of the things that Matthew Vaughn movies do a lot is there's a lot of twists and turns. For me, there was a specific twist where she shoots him in the heart, and they do the part about the 2 inches between the ventricles.
Yeah.
That just, it went a little bit too far for me because she was good, then she's bad, then she's good again, now she's bad again. And I just, it lost me a little bit there. The explanation was good, though. And I also liked how they wove in when she talks about being a writer is doing a lot of research, which I thought was a great callback because we hear a lot today about how you're only supposed to be able to write what you know. But we all know that that's not how the real world works, especially if you want to write fiction.
Yeah,
right?
I actually am leaning more into the theory that this story came from the mind of J.K. Rowling. This is just a conspiracy theory, obviously. More people are thinking about it as a Taylor Swift novel, but after watching the movie, I'm leaning more toward this is J.K. Rowling, and it makes sense that they wouldn't want her name attached to it because of boycotts.
Could be. I mean,
and
also,
J.K. Rowling, honestly, is smart enough to add those Easter eggs that would suggest it's someone else, namely Taylor Swift. I actually am starting to believe that theory.
It makes sense too because she writes literature other than just the Harry Potter novels. She writes the C.B. Strike books, which they're not spy novels, but they are they're private detective novels.
And it's her other pseudonym is already outed, so she would have to come up with another one.
One of the things I think this movie could have benefited more from is more on-location shooting. There's a lot of really dicey CGI in this movie.
Yeah, but I mean, do you think that makes sense for the budget being $200 million?
Yes,
then?
but I'm saying like I feel like it would have been cheaper to just go on location and film some of this stuff. There's a scene, I kid you not, guys. There's a scene right at the beginning of the movie where he board slides a car down a ledge. I'm not joking about this. It's actually a backboard slide. He backboard slides a car. And I was here for it. I was laughing and all this stuff.
Oh, and Dua Lipa on a motorcycle with a machine gun.
I'm all for it.
I'm here for it.
I'm all for it. I had a lot of fun with this. I think that maybe like on a second watch, I might enjoy it even more, knowing that all the twists that happen now. But I was just so enamored with her as the writer because I was like, this is a female character who's flawed but willing to do something dangerous because she's been put in this position and she's kind of thrust into it and can't get away from it and has to face a bunch of fears all at once.
I loved how incompetent she was in the first half of the movie. It was great because it's so unfamiliar territory for Hollywood these days is a female character who is actually being led by a male character.
Exactly.
And doesn't know what she's doing and actually has fear and isn't a completely impenetrable character with no flaws, with no fear, with no weakness.
That was my favorite
that was
part
great.
of this movie because you see her rising to the occasion and deal with it as they go, and there's something really, really down to earth about that. And it's also far more believable than what the movie becomes later on.
But it's supposed to be absurd. And I just really appreciated this, and I hope that the box office prediction is wrong. They're saying 20 million on the open weekend for this.
1.7 last night.
I'm worried about it because if this doesn't perform well, then Hollywood is just going to continue chugging along in the direction of IP and franchises and sequels and spin-offs.
I do feel, well, I mean, Matthew Vaughn is known for making his own, like, his genre is this, meaning that the Kingsman movies are very similar in tone and feel to it. Wasted a little bit with Samuel L. Jackson, who only has about 5 minutes of screen time. Him and Henry Cavill, both. Henry Cavill got more screen time than Samuel L. Jackson, but Samuel L. Jackson, as the head of the CIA, was
former
head of the CIA, was very, very, like, underused in this film. I felt like they could have used him more. But I mean, that's where actually, when I think about it more, like when you think about the budget, it goes to just that large list of actors that Samuel L. Jackson doesn't get out of bed for less than a certain amount of money.
Which is kind of the star power that you need in order to sell a film that isn't attached to an existing IP, unfortunately. That's the way things are these days.
I just, but at the same time, like I said, I had to get through the disbelief that I had in the MK Ultra stuff. But the action scenes, other than that last one, I really, really enjoyed the dance fight with the smoke grenades and stuff like that. It's ridiculous, it's over the top, but you have a lot of fun with it, and you get to see Bryan Cranston play just a very, very bad person, much better than, say, like Bryce Dallas Howard's last movie, Jurassic World Dominion, where you got Campbell Scott playing a very, very bad, evil businessman in Jurassic World Dominion. This one, I think Bryan Cranston is far better suited for this role, and I thought that was a lot of fun. And then you do get, at the end, it's not him that's last standing, it's Catherine O'Hara's, it's the evil spy. I don't even remember, do you remember what her character name was? It was it's like not even listed on the front of the website, but that was like the one character I couldn't. I kept forgetting her character's name. I would always remember the rest of them. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. She was Ruth. They were listed as Ruth, but I thought that was the mom's name and not the.
Yeah, I just see unknown. For the name,
see?
But yeah, she was still a good character.
I do want to. I do want people to understand that Sam Rockwell is fantastic in this role too, because he has a far more, like, he has to pull her through in that first half of the movie while being both simultaneously quirky and ridiculous, but also semi-believable as a dude who knows what he's doing. Because what he's doing is he's showing you the clash difference between what an actual spy would look like and what the literary version of a spy is, which is Henry Cavill with the worst haircut you've ever seen in your entire life.
I kind of think Henry Cavill with a flat top is a vibe.
The flat top. But you get Sam Rockwell, who and they play it subtly, that they don't show like him with long glances at her early on that give this away.
Right.
They slow play the fact that they used to be together, which was fine, and I thought it worked perfectly well. I really didn't think he was going to be able to pick Bryce Dallas Howard up for the Whirly Bird. I didn't.
That was probably a double. That's what I was thinking.
No, I mean wires maybe.
Yeah.
Wires. But it was, and here's the thing, like, okay, Bryce Dallas Howard she's not the physical. Like, she doesn't look
she's not
like
Dua Lipa, who is her double.
Dua Lipa. She very much looks like a Midwestern mom, which it has its appeal. As writer Ellie Conway, that is unbelievably perfect casting. There's an actress named Jamie Ray Newman. Of course, she's not a movie star. I don't think that she would ever get a role like this. I think she would have been better casted because I've seen her do roles where she plays both very, very, like, serious roles, but also can do very, very quirky, introverted roles. She was in the Punisher TV series. But, like, Bryce Dallas Howard's a big star. She's a big producer and director. I get it. This is her movie. And she works to make you believe that she can be the spy. I didn't buy it as much as some might, but she was still. Also, it might have been the blonde wig that they put on her to make her look more like Lagrange, which is Dua Lipa's.
Well, I think it was compelling just because the audience doesn't want to lose Ellie Conway,
exactly,
and then you don't have to.
Maybe the biggest.
You don't have to lose Rachel Kyle or Ellie Conway as a character.
The biggest high point of this movie is, like, she's like, I don't want the cat, but then she comes back and says, I'm just kidding, I want the cat. Like, here, seriously, that was like the highlight of the movie.
The cat was what drew me in, and then it actually, I was pleasantly surprised there was a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So, guys, look, in a world full of just ridiculous sequels, oversaturated with just endless IP. We're on like this summer has like 17 movies, all of which are sequels of previous films and existing IPs. This is a movie that I think you could go to this weekend and have a lot of fun. Also, if not this weekend, this may be a great Valentine's Day movie for you and a significant other because it has a romance. It has a love story, albeit a quirky one. I think it's worth checking out, but let us know down in the comments. Did you guys check out this movie? Did you watch it? Are you a fan of Matthew Vaughn's directing? What did you think of Bryce Dallas Howard? Did you like her more as Argylle, or did you like her more as Ellie Conway? Let us know down below, and we'll be back with more Pop Culture Crisis movie reviews soon. See you then. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.